Think it's time I brought her home," Frostin told Austin with a smile. A soft knock on the door drew our attention. Fuck. That was Anna. Anna had been through a lot lately, and after the events of the cabin in the woods, I couldn't deny my feelings for her any longer. A small portion of my cold, dead heart had started to come back to life when she had stepped foot into Austin's office for the first time and glared at me with her chin tilted up in challenge. The night after being shot, lying on the ground with her soft body pressed against mine and my life bleeding into the dirt, I had realized that she had my heart completely. There was nothing that I wouldn't do for her. I hurriedly stood and strode to the door, ignoring Austin's answer to the asshole. I only opened the door wide enough for me to exit and pushed Anna out of the doorway and further into the hall, shutting it behind me. Anna looked up at me with suspicious green eyes. She must have just taken a shower because her scent was mixed with the fresh, fruity scent of her shampoo. Her pale blonde hair was still damp and flowed down her back in gentle waves. She crossed her arms and widened her stance, making her challenge to me clear. "Just cooperate," I ordered her, already knowing she was ready to test me. "No," she answered simply, holding my gaze firmly. Defiance was clear in the tilt of her jaw and the flash in those gorgeous green eyes of hers. I sighed. Under normal circumstances, I would find her boldness equally frustrating and hot. But today, I needed to get her out of here. I didn't want her anywhere near this outsider until we got some answers from him as to what he was really doing here. I had just resigned myself to the idea that I was going to have to throw her over my shoulder to cart her away when the door opened behind me. I turned to face Frostin, coming out of the doorway with Austin close on his heels. I cursed to myself and placed my body in front of Anna's to try and shield her from his advance. "Anna," the asshole boomed with a broad grin and open arms. "I knew I sensed you out here." Anna peered around me to get a view of Frostin. "Have we met?" she asked him cautiously. "Not officially. I'm your father," he said warmly, dropping his arms but moving closer. She looked at Austin for confirmation. "We haven't established that as a fact yet," he cautioned her with a frown. Frostin laughed. "Of course she's my daughter. I can feel my magic coursing through her blood." I saw Anna's face change as her curiosity piqued. Sometimes that girl was more like a cat than a wolf. I held out an arm to keep her back at a safe distance. Austin met my eyes with a nod, and I sighed. We were both in agreement. Neither Anna nor Frostin were going to agree to walk away from this meeting, so the best we could do was stay by Anna's side to keep her safe. I followed Austin back into the office to have a seat at the table, careful to keep my body between Frostin and Anna. I already knew I wouldn't be able to keep Anna away from him, but I was determined to keep her from harm. He would have to get through me to get to her. Now that they were close to each other, I could see a little resemblance between them. They were both blonde, fair-skinned and tall. But Anna was almost a carbon copy of her mother, so a little bit of blonde hair wasn't enough to convince me that she and Frostin were kin. I couldn't see much resemblance between them, beyond similar coloring. I let Anna ask her questions, watching her reactions carefully. She seemed cautious, but hopeful. I hated the way that asshole tugged at her heartstrings by telling the story about her mother. I didn't believe a word of it. This fucker was trying to manipulate her. "That was a nice story," I interjected. "But how do we know any of it is true?" "Faye, don't lie," Frostin said simply. He held my gaze with his frosty blue eyes, unblinking. I scowled and looked at Austin for confirmation. Austin communicated the truth of that statement via the pack bond. Even if Faye were unable to lie, I doubted Frostin was telling us the entire truth. Something about this guy just didn't feel right. "We don't know much about Faye," Austin said. "What you told us might be true, and I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt for now. But we will be looking much further into this before Anna..."